So they went on a massive hunt and they found me. Then the next time they went on a hunt for something, it was because that person had passed away. So if someone is alive, like a Tress McNeil, I will fill in and I'll do my own Daisy.
It's still fun and simple. You know, it's that Daisy voice. So it's not exactly like hers, but not so far off the mark that people would go, like, Daisy is a Negro.
And so I do that. And then they go on another massive hunt for another major Disney villain. But it's because that person passed away. So for the first time in Disney history, I am the second person, not the sixth, but the second person in line who is now the voice, and I'm the Disney character voice for all of the stuff that they will do in the future and are doing now for, and I say this first, Pat Carroll's Ursula the Sea Witch from The Little Mermaid.
Oh, shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I call it Pat Carroll. You know why? Because she broke the mold. I did my own kind of a Daisy, so that it was still Daisy Duck, and it was still in the range of what they're looking for. But I have to match Pat Carroll.
Yeah.
So it's hers, and I don't want her to ever be forgotten because because I'm doing Pat Carroll's Ursula, she broke the mold, and it will never be fixed again. So whenever you see, Melissa McCarthy in the live action, she's Ursula, she's embodied Ursula, but it's not that Disney voice that everyone is expecting to hear specifically. But I'm that voice now.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
First, and again, also second one in line. First woman of color. So I've broken three walls with Disney in that regard. And their DEI is really amazing. They are known for being very fucking cheap as a company and a corporation.
Sure.
It's renownedly known.
Yeah.
It's widespread known for being very, very, very frugal and cheap.
Yeah.
And money. Money, company, money, Disney, money,
Right.
toys, parks, money. But I will tell you, within their infrastructure, inclusive up the ass.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a gay reference. You know me, that's just the way I'm going to roll. So I just want to let you know me.
Should we start from there?
Yeah. That's
Normally how we do it.
Yeah.
I think that's just you get that much
This
of a laugh.
is how
You gotta
we
go.
do it. I know there's a franchise I can't do.
All right.
Yeah. Come on now. Don't forget the.
We do a shot. Yours are both NA. So
Okay.
you just want to cheers us.
That's how,
That's how we get it
Because
started.
you didn't say non-alcoholic, NA. Kids always got a little words, the WRDSs to go with it. Okay.
Chris, real quick. Am I in frame? Can you see? Okay, cool. I'm just making sure.
Oh,
'cause
okay,
that's
not
the secondary. Yeah.
Oh, you
I
doing
can see
shots
it.
on camera?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Did we just do that on camera?
Yes.
Okay.
But yours is non-alcoholic.
I know that's not fair to say that to your audience.
They'll get over it.
You're not our first.
I want to see
guest.
that. Look, and by the end of
Yeah.
this, they should see me
Going over.
face down, half planted up, pants at my ankles, with me holding the last one in my hand. That's how I roll.
Well, we've had somebody fall asleep on camera.
It has happened.
We did.
You won't be the first.
Shout out
Yeah,
to you.
heroin's a bitch.
Let's do the intro. Come on, B.
All right, I got this. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the podcast where we pull back the curtain and give you some insight on what goes on by the scenes of your favorite bar and restaurant. We like to call that the industry perspective.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Huzzah!
All right, settle down, people. Settle down. Don't get out of hand. Don't get out of hand. It's an apartment, all right?
Turn the air down a little bit more because we're in costumes. Please. I'm sweating like a.
I am too.
Yeah.
But I'm staying in
Whose
character.
idea was costumes? Mine.
Yeah,
Yours?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yours.
Who the fuck didn't think ahead?
As you guys
Get it
may
started.
or may not notice, we have a lovely guest
Yes.
with us today. And we're keeping it very chill, very casual, but
Not with the sweat rolling down your neck.
oh no, you see, yo,
Your chest, bro, your chest.
so this is actually baby oil because I had to recreate,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I
had
get
to
it. Yeah.
but yeah.
And the check is in the mail, and I promise not to come in your mouth.
Thank you. I had to commit to it. But we keeping it very chill. But we gotta let these people know who the fuck you are.
Yes.
If
So
you don't
please,
mind.
yes.
We gotta let them know.
You don't
We're gonna
know?
keep it short.
Oh, we know.
Why am I introducing myself?
No,
No,
we
no.
got you. I
He's
got
going
you.
to.
I got you. If
Yeah.
you don't know, this is Debra motherfucking Wilson in the motherfucking house. Let me run y'all down a little bit of her accolades.
Tell
You know what I
'em
mean?
Let 'em
Go-
know.
now,
Don't let
she
'em
was the longest serving original cast member of the sketch comedy series MadTv. She appeared on the show from 95 to 2003. If y'all don't remember, Bonifa Latifa Halifa Sharifa Jackson.
You got it right.
Boom. And her iconic impressions of Whitney Houston and Oprah Winfrey.
Yes.
And then she went into the voice acting game as well, as she just mentioned, but was also in my notes in 2022. She started playing Daisy Duck in Mickey Mouse Funhouse, making her the 6th official voice and the first African American performer of the character.
Yes.
Can we tell them of the name? Yo, set it off. Can we tell them the new thing you just told?
Okay.
And now she is the second voice for Ursula,
Pat
making her
Carroll's Ursula.
Pat Carroll's
I give it
Ursula,
up. I give it up to the originator,
the originator,
the one who broke the mold. Pat Carroll's Ursula for Disney. I am now that voice.
Hell fucking yeah. And in 2006, she started doing voiceover for video games, voicing Sarah Junda with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Survivor, where she earned a BAFTA nomination. If you don't know what a BAFTA is, look it the fuck up.
Look it up.
She got a BAFTA nomination for that performance. She's voiced Draka in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. She's the voice of Savathun in Destiny 2. And she's a Harbinger in Halo Infinite. She has over 310 acting credits spanning over 3 decades. Now, she's a 2018 winner of the National Academy for Video Games Trade Review
Someone
Award
did their
for her
homework
work
for
as
this.
Amanda Waller in Batman: The Enemy Within, and the 2024 Best Actress winner at Soho London Independent Film Festival. Give it up for fucking Debra fucking Wilson.
Yes.
Sorry,
Put
just
some
I just gotta let them know who the
name.
fuck you are. I just gotta let them know who the fuck you are.
I have to admit, one of my favorite ones, even though it's a quick scene, was a boss fight in God of War Ragnarok, where I play Gryla. There's a story behind that.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Oh, you want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For sure.
I was offered the role. I didn't have to audition for it. Everyone knew my work because I'd worked in other video games with Sony and a lot of the game devs. So it was a 1-day shoot. Of course, you'd have the voiceover stuff later on, but it was a 1-day shoot. And I knew that once I read the script, once I read this scene, it was going to be very, very, very powerful, very dark, very painful, very emotional. So I wanted to be able to hold that space and maintain that space for that day. And so I started early in the morning, even before I got there, just showering, getting ready, and holding that space, that emotional space of the frustration, the anger, the fear, and why, and kind of ruminating in my mind and holding that, and then continuing to relate that with my own emotional space and allowing my emotional space to be able to tell the story of this character's space so that she can possess me and use my emotions and my feelings to have all of this rage come out that has been written for her, and she deserves to have that significance in this experience. And so when I get there, I go to the director and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I go, "No. I do not want to meet the young actress who plays Angerboda. Do not introduce me to her. I don't want to see her. I don't want to talk to her." He goes, okay. And he respected my process because he could see that I was already, when I walked in, it was already that. And so he was like, okay, I'm gonna step away and let you have that space. So I get into my PCAP suit, performance capture suit, mocap suit, my HMC head-mounted camera, dots on the face, facial markers. They ROM me, meaning taking all of the motions, recording all of the motions to make sure all of those dots that are connected to all my joints are matching up in their computer system to render it into a physical body. And so they want to do a rehearsal, a blocking. I said, I don't want to do the blocking. Do you do the blocking without her? I'm not. Don't. And they're like, okay, we actually can block without you.
Yeah.
Because, she'll go over her lines and stuff. And since we're not doing it with you, will tell you secondary.
Yeah.
Did the blocking with the young lady who's playing, and I apologize, no disrespect, I forgot her name, who did win a BAFTA. First time video game.
Wow.
First time video game.
Oh, shit.
And the young lady who played Anger Boda won a BAFTA.
God damn.
So I do my blocking separately from her. And then because we're all in the volume where it's shot with all the cameras and the lights, she sees me and I just pace and stare at her. And she doesn't know what's going on because we've never met. She never came over to be introduced. I kept completely from the volume, completely the furthest distance from her. Yeah. And so I'm just pacing, looking at her. I'm just pacing, looking at her. And then director goes, "We ready to shoot?" She's ready. I'm ready. And right before we're about to shoot, as we're about to come into the volume in the space we're using, I walk up to her really quickly and I stare in her face. And she looks at me like, "What is going on?" That intimidation, that kind of a thing. And I just look at her and I look her up and down. And then I step away. And each time I have a thought, I'm actually speaking to her in my head. I'm speaking to her things in my head. And my body and my emotions are speaking out loud, but in my head to her eyes. Go back. We shoot. Second time, I do the same thing right before we're about to shoot. And he's like, "Okay, is everybody in first position? Okay." And I literally just walk up to her and I look at her again. And then she looks at me and now she's matching my gaze. She gets it. Matching my gaze, and she gets it because I only have one time for her to know that I am her grandmother and that she is my granddaughter, as opposed to just the words saying it. Mm-hmm. Third time, she breaks me down. I walk up to her for the third time to shoot it, and she looks at me with such compassion and such sorrow and such pity that it breaks me down. I start bawling. Now I'm ready because she just filled the final emotion that I felt. Not that I give to her, but she would give to me.
Right.
We do the shoot. Each time I'm hearing now what I'm saying because I feel what I'm saying and it's reverberating. Every time we shoot it, everything that I did, everything that I felt is reverberating and it's building up and it's choking me. We shoot one more time. We shoot one more time. And it finally goes over the top for me. Mm-hmm. And the very end of that is where it always hits, right? And the line is at the end of it, "I should have thrown you to the wolves the moment I pulled you out of your fucking mother."
Jeez.
And the rage and the anger and the love and the complexity of emotion was so overwhelming that when it was done, everyone was quiet and I could hear the silence. And my emotions just burst forth in this silence. And I'm screaming. I'm on my knees. I cannot get up. I cannot move because now I'm vomiting out all this emotion. It was overwhelming, but we got what we got. And it was overwhelming. And then finally I cleared up. I did not know Christopher Judge, who plays Kratos, had been watching the entire time on video. He was not there shooting, but he knows me because we've done a film together. And he's like, "Debra Wilson's now playing Gryla." Oh, shit, I got to see this. Because he knows me. And he knows that when I show the fuck up, I show the fuck out. Because this is contextually a most important thing in this moment. And I only have this one time to do this one thing. And I don't know her and she doesn't know her. And I don't want to know her process and I don't want to tell her mine. I wanted to have these organic moments because I had not seen my granddaughter in years. Mm-hmm. And I'd never met her. So it fell in alignment with that. And I finally met her at the end, but it was overwhelming and it allowed her to make these choices in our relationship. By the third time she saw me and she says, "I get it. You're my grandmother. Now let me pity you." Mm. And so being able to carry that into it, to have it the first time, like I'm seeing my grandmother, the second time there's something going on with my grandmother. And for her, the process, I love my grandmother and I pity her. And now my intention for her to be here to invade this space changes. And you're watching the transmutation take place from scene to scene to scene in those moments, from take 1 to take 2 to take 3. It was a really powerful moment for me. God. That's how I work.
That's phenomenal.
Shit.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. That's
And then what was your process in terms of, that was that process, but becoming an actor, right? So you started in New York, and then in terms of like how did you navigate? Because Paolo and I are both actors as well, and so just like how did you navigate knowing that this was in you to actually developing it to that level?
I didn't develop it. That's
It just
just
was
it.
in you.
No, it's not that it was. It's always in everybody. It's
Yeah.
always in everything. But I didn't really develop it. It was just a matter of having experience. It's like everything else in life. We have a tendency to compartmentalize things. I'm an actor. I'm a this. I'm a this. And I don't really call myself an actor because
Okay.
it's a title. I don't like the concept as I continue to transmute working in this business. I don't like the idea of titles. I like just having an experience. So I like saying I do this.
Bet.
As opposed to I am an actor, because people, especially in Los Angeles and anyone else who wants to know that you're an actor goes, what are you doing? What are you working on? What have I seen you in? And so because they're now looking at you as you told me you're this thing, so you must be this thing and you must be doing this thing. You
Prove
feel
it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's a matter of this is what I do. So even if somebody says, aren't you an actress? I said, I do act because these are the things I do.
Right.
They're the things that I do. They're the things that I activate, as opposed to this is what I am.
Right.
And this is who I am. And I want to be able to separate that identity for myself, even if no one else can.
Right.
And so for me, it was just a matter of having these experiences and making choices in them. Oh, I have an opportunity here. Let me make a choice in this. Oh, I have an opportunity here. Let me make a choice in here. Oh, I have an opportunity here. Let me make a choice here.
Yeah.
And those choices sometimes come and those choices don't. And then the opportunities come and the opportunities don't. But you get a chance to navigate the experience by just allowing the experience. And acting simply is just simply being. We always think we have to do more. Voiceover people, a lot of people who are new in the business think they have to do something. I got to do this with my voice. I got to do this. And I said, but you're losing yourself. Your X factor is you.
Right.
So you think your X factor is because you can go high, or you can go low, or you can do demon voices, or you can mimic that person, or you can do great impressions. I'm like, that's not your X factor. I'm glad that you can do all that. That's your talent, but that's not your X factor. Your X factor is your life, because there is no story that's ever been written that'll be greater than your own because you're still living it. And every story that is ever written that's come after you is telling the emotions that you're living right now in flesh and blood. And so we are a service industry. We get to go back into that emotional space wherever we're holding it from our past. We get a chance to go back to the joys and the loves and the sorrows and the sadness, the sufferings, the celebrations. We get a chance to go back to the frustration and the rage. We get a chance to be able to be the being, the body, the vessel to tell the story that was here. Because at the end of the day, people who have developed the story for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you coming into audition for 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they want to know that they hear their story. And they don't, not you showing off what you can do as an actor. And we have a tendency, and again, when you call yourself an actor, you want to be in the forefront. You want to be seen. You want to be known. You want to make money. You want to keep working. You want to, navigate the business well. And you want to have a manager. You want to have an agent. All those things that are tied to it. And I go, fuck it, just act. Just love the craft. And sometimes let the craft and the work find you.
God, I've been wanting that and looking for that.
Yeah.
For the last.
You're already everything you need. You are enough. Enjoy the space that you hold without asking anything in return, and watch the universe say thank you, because you're not putting out in your craft, in your acting, the ulterior motive of desperation, of need, of want.
Yeah.
And allow people to experience that vibration. Everything is vibration. The universe is made of vibration. Everything is a frequency. And when we start finding our frequency, our most organic frequency, which is self-love, worthiness to begin with, that is your birthright. You don't come to this planet to discover if you are worthy. You're already fucking worthy. It is your birthright the moment you were born. The moment you were in inception, you were already there. Do you know what it takes to actually watch a child develop in a womb? Do you know the complexity and the power and the beauty and the delicacy? Do you know how fragile that is and yet how powerful it is? You already have purpose. To go through that complexity without you even knowing it or even consciously being aware of it, you already that and more. And so we forget that because we don't remember the womb. We forget that because we're looking at all the stimulations. We live in the three-dimensional worlds to really usurp the 6 dimensions in it, which is to eat, sleep, shit, fuck, consume, and destroy. And somewhere in between is that beauty of us. No, we're the beauty to begin with. This way, when it comes to the 6 dimensions of eat, sleep, shit, fuck, consume, and destroy, they're merely thin curtains and veils that sometimes get in the way of the vista of who we are. That's how powerful we are. And sometimes we're afraid to let go because there's a consequence. Linear thinking tells us as our brains develop, if I don't make money, I can't live. If I can't live, I don't have a roof. If I don't have a roof, I don't have this. I don't have that. I got to pay my bills. I got to be this. I got to do all of this. So now you're trying to navigate how to get this thing, but you want to pay your bills with it. And then you're making choices that are like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to make this. I got to make this. But I really want this. And now it's desperate because I'm just fucking doing this thing. And I don't want to do this. God damn it. I don't want to do this thing because I want to be there and make that kind of money. And I see these people. And now I'm envious of the people who have made it. And the money they have in this world. So it's all of that stuff in your head. And it's a mind fuck. Because you're asking yourself to be that thing. But all of those things have aspects of desperation, fear, longing, who they've met, who they know, who they fucked, how they play the game, how they find a way to recreate and reinvent and stay current and use social media. And I get it. I'm not on social media and I work all the time. And through the pandemic, my workload tripled. And it's a challenge. It is difficult. One of the most difficult things in your life will be to know that you're enough and to allow and to trust and have faith. But when you do, you're going to find a joy that you've never experienced before. And I know what it's like to have those painful moments. This is not this amazing Disney moment that came to me. I came out of a space on many levels from childhood trauma to low self-esteem, to abhorring myself, to having it and losing it all at one time. Marriage, home, career, all going. And what ended up happening is my equation in my linear thinking was failure. You can't keep a husband, you can't keep a job, and you can't keep a home. And finally, the burden of trying to run up and catch up to a career to outrun my bills on this wheel. I said, I'm exhausted because I'm getting nowhere on this hamster wheel. I just want to be happy. I don't care about anything else. I don't know what it's like to be happy. And that's when God said, thank you. I'm just waiting for you to look at the simple truth and get rid of all the complexities. You want to be happy? There you go. And I was instantly healed. And I paid attention to that voice. I paid attention to that conversation. I paid attention to that divine frequency and vibration. And I've never let that go. And so I let it all go. I had a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3-floor, 2,138 square foot condo with a rooftop deck. And I let it all go. I opened my doors and I gave everything away. All the stuff that filled the rooms. Look what I bought with this money from MadTv. I just gave it all away. And the bank said, look, we can't take it from you yet because it's still in your name and there's a certain legal process. And while it's yours in the interim, sell it. Sell it. I knew I couldn't afford to stay there. And what I did is I put in a file to refinance, but I knew I didn't have the money. I just knew that the refinancing process would take 6 months and it would stall me. And maybe I'll make money then. And it didn't happen. And so when they said, sell it, I went, there it is, let it go. Oh, all of a sudden my body dropped because it relaxed and went, let it go. Literally, let it go. And I opened my doors and I gave everything away. My place, when I accepted that, I can surrender all this stuff. It doesn't represent me anymore. It doesn't represent my heart space, my spirit space. It's stuff I filled up to be impressed, to be impressed myself and impress anyone who came in. What I did was, I let it all go. I had people come in. People told other people. People were telling people in the street. My realtor told her neighbor who told her daughter because they didn't have any furniture. So it was like, just come and take it. Didn't matter what it was. Come and take it. If that's what you want, take it. because now I knew I didn't have that thing that attached me to the desperation, and that thing that attached me to the financial, and that thing that attached me to the material world, the consume in me. And so I gave it all away. Place sold in 2 weeks, $500,000. Neighbor tried to sell his place. Never sold. 2 weeks, all cash, $500,000.
Wow.
And that's the universe saying, great. See, we're working in your favor. See, now you're vibrating on our frequency.
Yeah.
You're vibrating on our frequency because you know you're enough. So we're now going to show you the vista of what enough is. Instead of you trying to go after what is enough, we're going to show you. Because you let it go, so we're going to bring it back and show you what it looks like. We're going to show you the power and the beauty of who you are, because you are perfect. What do you mean you're perfect? Yeah, you're perfect. You're perfect for your learning. You're perfect for your healing. You're perfect for your growth. You're perfect for all the things you want in your life. You are perfect. Perfect. All you have to do is vibrate on that frequency, which is the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. But when you're ready to vibrate on that frequency, the universe is going to constantly show you the stuff that you put out in the world and what it equates to until you get sick of it. That's a gift. That's why I said when the world hands you shit, God is constantly reminding you that you're minerals. You've always been minerals. You were born to be minerals. And when you put minerals and shit together, you get fertilizer, and therefore you can grow everything. And the whole purpose of the growth is you'll have enough to share. You'll have enough to know what abundance is. You'll have enough to give stuff away. You'll have enough to serve a higher purpose. And so when the universe kept giving me work and work and work and work and work, the money that came in, I was like, I got me taken care of in spades. Who else needs to be taken care of? Because now I know what it's like to be bankrupt or feel that way. I know what it's like to feel desperate and need something, or be afraid that you're not going to be able to live. Now that I've had that feeling, that is my gift. It's never been my curse. It is my blessing. It is my gift. Now who else needs? Who else is in need? Who else is in need of this, where I'm coming from now? Who else is in need of the words? Who else is in need of money? Who else is in need of love? Who else is in need of the reality of that? And so I started teaching and coaching, not simply because I am a teacher and a coach. No, I can only share what I do. But I'm never going to teach just from the vocal point and the diaphragm point and how to do an audition. I will do all of that. But my primary thing is, what are you in the world? Do you know? Let me tell you how loved you are first, because that's what I want you to carry on your journey in this voiceover business. Because when you do carry all of that luggage, you'll carry the technique and the self-love. You'll carry the ways to read a script and the self-love. You'll carry all of your voice prints and characters you do and your self-love, and you will eventually leave your fucking baggage behind. And so it's just a matter of, to wind it all up, it was just a matter of, let me start from the beginning of what I am, not who I am. Who I am has to be bartered in the world. Who? An actor. Well, you have to barter that. Can't be an actor unless you're acting. Can't act unless you got a businessman or blah, 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 this or that, picture, resume, acting classes, courses, blah, 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 blah. Because you have to barter that with someone else to go, okay, I'm on my journey, but, I got to do this and I got to do this. I got to take an acting class. But the what you are is never bartered if you don't want it to be. Because no man, woman, or child created that. That's where your perfection lies. You can have people tell you, hey, here's what I want. That wasn't perfect. That wasn't perfect. What I want. Here's what I'm looking for. But the thing that you are, not what you do, the thing that you are, the what that you are, from the very beginning and the inception of your consciousness, cannot be bartered with. And as long as you don't barter it, there are opportunities that will come to you instead of you feeling like you have to find them. And I stopped finding opportunities a long time ago. I'm just allowing it at this point. And the older I get, the more I'm working, the more I'm growing my wisdom, and the more I want to put back, because if I'm a wellspring, I don't need all of this because it's only going to get filled up. So I need to release it because it's only going to get filled up. And that's how it's been ever since. So I'm telling you, gentlemen, as actors, love what you do, but love yourself first in it. And trust. Trust. You're enough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come from that real space, because every story that has ever been inside you that has existed is what people are going to want, because they're going to want to see themselves. They're going to feel themselves. At the end of the day, people don't want to hear my fucking voice. They want to feel the story that they're playing. They want to draw to the emotions, and that frequency has to be organic and truthful. And that's why I draw on those real emotions. The pain and the sorrow, everything that comes in, I use it to my advantage, the same way that God uses the advantage of everything that has happened in your life can be turned around from a curse into a blessing, because it always is. And you won't know the difference until you recognize that you are the center of it all, because you are the minerals that turn shit into fertilizer. I'll drink to that.
There you go. There you
I
go.
received that.
Now, while everybody else takes a drink, I would like to tie that back into our industry, but also I want to explain why I decided for us to wear costumes for this. For one, happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
What? Happy what?
Halloween.
All Hallows Eve.
Spooky day.
Here's my eyes shake.
Uh-oh.
Because this is one of my favorite things in the world. I don't really have favorites, but Halloween is one of my favorite opportunities.
Halloween.
It's Halloween.
Halloween.
It's not
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yes.
Hallow.
Right, because it's All Hallows
Hallows
Eve.
Eve.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's a pagan thing. And I love
Yes.
it. I'm not a pagan, but it's a pagan thing, and I love it.
Always teaching.
Hallow.
I loved it. I love that. And that was, thank you for everything that you shared with us with that story. And I would like to say why I decided to choose the costume that I did. I'd love for all of us to do that, and we're all going to take our turns doing that. But the one I chose was Deacon St. John from Days Gone. And the reason why I chose that is because you're a biker. I started my bartending career in my bike life. Like, I used to be a biker as well. I can't wait to get another bike, but can't afford one right now because I work in the service industry.
Yeah.
Hey, but yeah, I used to live in Phoenix, and that's where I started my bartending career as a biker. And then I decided to move to Seattle, and so I sold my bike and gave away all of my stuff because I was like, I'm going to Seattle to start over. I just want to start fresh and see what I can make of myself. And I had the idea for this show, but I had no idea how to get it started. And I knew I couldn't do it where I was. And a friend at the time told me to try Seattle because I would like the Pacific Northwest. And they were right. I did like the area, but it wasn't enough for me to grow within what I wanted to create and what I wanted to be for myself. And then the pandemic happened. And so I'm sitting there, no friend, well, not no friends, but not a lot of friends at the time. And I'm just trying to figure out what am I going to do next? And I was thinking of moving to LA because I was like, I think LA would be the perfect place to get this started. And then that game came out. And so I started to play it, and it was set in the Pacific Northwest. And here you are, you're this biker, and you've lost everything. The whole
Nope, I'm not a
world is
biker.
gone.
I'm a
No,
veterinarian.
me,
Oh,
me.
you? Okay, good.
That's Deacon St. John.
Okay.
So I'm a biker. I've lost everything, and I'm just riding my bike around the Pacific Northwest, escaping from zombies. And then when your character showed up, there was also a character named Boozer. So the Abby character helps Boozer after losing his arm. I also have a friend who had lost his arm. One of my biker brothers, still my brother to this day. And so it just hit me so much at that moment to be seeing all of these messages. And I went back and looked at a little scene from it. And there's a point where your character asks the Deacon St. John character, have you checked on Michael, I think is the name, which is his government name. But Deacon St. John always tries to correct the Abby character and say, Boozer, Boozer. Because in that life, you call them by their given name within the life. And so he says, nah, he should be fine. And your character says, no, you need to check on him because you're all he's got. And all I thought about was how my friend did that for me and came to Seattle to see me for Christmas and brought his daughter because he knew I had nothing at that moment. And I just needed my friend. And I just needed something. And he was like, dude, everything you're trying to build, you can build it. You just need to figure out how, where, and just do it. And that was his message always to me. I've known him for over a decade, and he's always told me that you are enough and we are enough. And all of that came together while playing that game. And I was just like, you know what? I do need to figure it out. I do need to make a move. I do need to figure out what's next. Where do I go? Who am I? Who do I want to be? And then I move here and I work in a bar, and then you pop up. And you told us a story as soon as you walked in, and there was one line that you said that really stuck with me. You said, of all of my doppelgangers, and I have many, it's always a blessing because it is a mirror. Like, you didn't say mirror, but I'm trying to paraphrase, where you said that that person is seeing the person in you that loves them. And that was a message to them that you are being thought of and you are being loved. And you look a lot like my mom. So for me, I always felt like when watching MadTv, because my mom passed when I was 9, it was like, oh, not you or my mom, but I thought you would have been one of the people my mom would have hung out with and been friends with. You know, you would have been her buddy. You would have been like that auntie who my friend who lost his arm, that's what he is to me. You know, so all of those feelings came together while I was there, feeling like I had nothing. And I got that reminder. And so then to run into you here, it was like, that's the universe telling me, you're right. You're on the path. Keep going. And this is episode 122 for us.
Wow.
122.
Wow.
And we've been putting this product out, and we've been doing it here at the house and just trying to fine tune it and get it together and just trying to be who we are instead of trying to be what we think everyone wants us to be.
And you don't have to try. You just be.
And here we are in this moment with you delivering that message. And you didn't know what costume I had or why I was wearing it and why I wanted to even talk about it. And to bring that back to the service industry, I know so many other bartenders and servers and hosts and managers and even owners, even though I don't like half of you, that are in the same boat. They are trying so hard to be what they think the service industry wants them to be. But someone told me, his name, I always will call him G&T Tom because he would always get a gin and tonic. And he told me this story, not the story, he told me this phrase. He said, no one comes to the bar for the drink. I come to the bar for you. You're selling me a bit of your time by working here. I come here for that, to bond with you, to share a moment with you. Thank you for that, but that should be your message. That's what he told me. And I never saw him again. Never saw him again. And here we are with that same message being told on this platform. So I just want to say to everyone out there, whether you're trying to be an actor, whether you're trying to be a mixologist, whether you just want to own a bar or a restaurant, just do it the right way. Be yourself, always.
Stop trying to be.
Stop trying to be. You're Australian. Be Australian, man. That's why we come to you. If you are that kind of bar or that kind of restaurant, be the best version of that. Stop trying to change everything because you think this is the trend or what we should do. People are already coming there for you, so be you and be the best version of that. And that is how people come back. And that is how people patronize your business. That is how you get those regulars. And you have that where if, oh, the lights might be turning out. If you guys don't come to support this business, business fills up. That's what we want to be. That's what we used to be. And that's what we need to get back to being, because that is what brought people out. It wasn't for the alcohol. It was for us.
Because you are beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I've been wanting to throw that applause in there for many, many times.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to interrupt anything.
Yeah,
I
it's
wanted
yeah,
to
where
find
you
the
find
right time and space. Oh, you guys are looking at me. My turn?
Oh, you started talking, so let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I have Jedi robes, dark Jedi robes. So I don't have a specific character that I'm playing, but just
No, you are.
you're a Jedi.
Remember,
But you're a
you
Jedi.
are in Star Wars canon.
I am.
He is.
Oh yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Oh shit, thank you so much. Technically, I exist in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Me.
Tell me.
So in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, I think it's the minute marker 48:52. So 48 minutes 52 seconds in, Padme tells Anakin a story about like her first crush. And she describes me to a T. She says she's like, oh, this is when we were in the young senator school. His name was Paulo, curly hair, dreamy eyes. So I took it. I'm like, well, curly hair, colored eyes. I'm like, yeah, okay. I was Padme's first crush. I'll take that. I exist in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I exist.
And when she left him for Anakin, he went to the dark side.
Yeah.
And that's where the robes come in.
Genius.
So yeah,
Genius.
I exist in Star Wars.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Holla at me, Marvel.
Yeah.
No,
go.
or Disney.
Somebody
Disney.
write that. Somebody write that. For
Disney,
Put
get
it
at
in
me.
there.
Come on.
The
let's
Paulo
do it.
storyline.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's just the character you played, Seer Junda, in Fallen Order. I really enjoyed that character. At first, I was really annoyed because I feel like you're giving up so much. You're this Jedi Master, and at the end, she has this not redemption arc, but this whole like, I'm facing this fear, this guilt that I dealt with, and it's like it always felt like you were the
At
character
that point,
was,
I wasn't even facing it. It was like, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. And I knew. And for me, my personal space was I knew. Because it was time. It was when I found out that when we were reading the script, because I never read the script, we all had a table read. And everyone who was involved had a table, was all the table read, even if they were in London and New Zealand and wherever they were across the world, working and regardless of the time change, everyone was there to read. And I didn't read the script ahead of time. So we're reading over 200 pages at one time, all of us, in the volume of where we're going to shoot this. And it got to my scene where I actually die. And spoiler alert, if you haven't played it by now.
Spoiler, guys. If you
Game was
haven't
out
played
last
it,
year. If you didn't, that's on
played
you.
it.
That's on you. And it was bittersweet, but there was a release because she had nowhere else to go. You know, in the crafting of the story, except the ultimate gift of love is to let go. You know, it's like passing the baton in a relay race. You know, when I pass the baton, I have to slow down, which means I have to die. And I just thought it was beautiful. And I thanked the writers, and I thanked Lucasfilm Limited for writing such a beautiful script, number one. And number two, for allowing me to die in the space. Because what else did she need? Her last checklist was, I have no more fear and I have no more guilt. It's gone. And so even though I had a purpose for living because of the archives, if that wasn't meant to be, then I can let that go too. Something will be saved, something will not. I don't know, and it doesn't matter. It matters that in this moment, getting them out and facing him, and just facing him, because you'll go through me, and that's okay. It's that come at me, bro moment because I have no fear. And the come at me, bro, is not because I'm ready to just kill you. The come at me, bro, is it doesn't matter whether I live or die.
I don't fear you.
It doesn't matter whether I live or die.
Don't scare me.
Yeah, you don't scare me.
And it was such a cool like parallel between like the first game where Cal is like, that can't be good, and you're like, it's not. And just in those like few words, it's like, oh, your character is scared. Seer is like fearful. And then to go to the second one where she fights him face to face, she's like, I don't fear you. And what does he say? Then what does he say? I forget his line. But then that fight ensues, and it was so much fun playing that. But just the dialogue between them, it's like you see like in her facial features, the way she says it's like, oh, she's not scared. Like you just said perfectly, like she's not scared.
The first one was all fear, guilt, and rage.
Yeah.
Fear, guilt, and rage. And then she's trying to support Cal. In other words, what's driving her is the desperation and the need, the redemption from the fear, guilt, and rage, the fear, guilt, and rage, the fear, guilt, and rage. And so she was driven in the first game by fear, guilt, and rage. And then that comes out at certain times. But this one it's the archives because it's preserving something from the past that's greater than myself. And so the focus now is I've released it all. I'm focused on what's greater than myself that is necessary. I am not dealing with all of the visceral stuff that I went through anymore. I've released all of that. And now it's taking care of the past that it can potentially be the future for the most part. And so facing Vader it doesn't matter whether I die. And that's why I have no fear anymore, because I don't fear death. And if I don't fear death, then there's no way I'm going to fear anyone who might cause it.
Nope. That's one of the reasons why I love the character and why I chose this outfit, because just that. I'm not going to re-say it because you said it perfectly. And I loved everything about that. Loved everything about that. Love that series.
All right, now I'm going to be real. I promise to be real quick.
Yeah.
The last day of shooting was only me and Cameron Monaghan, and just in general, Cameron Monaghan and Debra Wilson have this relationship where we're meeting for the first time, and it's coming together. Our relationship as these people on a set is coming together the way Cal and Sear did, and it kind of follows that throughout. And at one point, obviously, the game takes place 5 years later. I haven't seen Cameron in that long, and all of a sudden we come back together, but it is still that powerful relationship. There's this organic and powerful relationship. And of course, the first one, there was a care and a love and a nurturing. And the second one, there's a little bit of tension because he's gone off and done his thing and I'm gone off and done my thing, and there's a tension. But it doesn't matter because that tension is based on this personal space that they have and coming back in that personal space. And so Cameron and I always had a loving relationship. We never got to set without hugging. We never left the set without hugging. We sought each other out to say goodbye that way. And it was just really wonderful. We still have a powerful and loving relationship to this day, even though we don't see that often. He has his own life. He does his own stuff. And he works all the time. So, but seeing him in those wonderful moments is really, really powerful and really loving, as if we've never been separated before. And so that day, it was only me and him, Lucasfilm Limited, Respawn Entertainment, all the people who were rendering all of the game devs and rendering all of that stuff, and the director, Tom Keegan, the cinematic director. We shoot that scene, and we don't shoot it more than 3 times. We shoot that scene, and each time Cameron is just a puddle of emotion. Just a puddle. In fact, while I'm laying there, all I feel is plop, plop, plop. Every single time, plop, plop, plop on my face. When we're wrapped and the director says, all right, that's a wrap. Again, that was the end of the end of the complete production.
Right.
And that was the last thing. And so to have it really quiet and have that moment with him and to be able to think in your mind what's going on and the emotion that's driving it. When we got up, we separated from each other because we were too emotionally raw to just look at each other and feel what we felt. With each other and how we felt about each other. We went over and started talking to the director, Tom Keegan, and I can see that he was starting to have those breaks, telling Tom what he means to him, and Tom telling him, Cameron, this is what you mean to me. And I walk over and I'm hearing this and I'm telling them what they both mean to me. And we're just raw emotion. Just raw, just total raw emotion. Cut to, they have a wrap party. Months later, Cameron is in London working on something. I didn't think he was going to be back for it. I bring a friend with me. It's really loud and noisy. I said hi to everyone who I wanted to say hi to, and we're about to leave. And literally, in my opinion, a force pull happens. And I'm supposed to go left. And I just decide to look right. And there he was. He'd come in from London. And I saw him. There's the tears. There's the hugs. And I asked him, and I was still going to leave. I just needed to hold him. I just wanted to hold him. And I said, I never asked you, because I never really ask an actor their process. It's very personal, and sometimes it's even very intimate. What is it that got you to that space each time so effortlessly and so emotionally raw? What was it in your in the space that you held? What was the technique? What was it? He goes, I just thought of us. Because our relationship is so powerful and so parallel that Cal and Cameron were merged together with Debra and Sear. And so it was Sear and Cal having this moment while Debra and Cameron held them together. It's almost like, here's Sear, here's Cal holding her, and Debra is beneath Sear holding her so that he can hold, that Cal can hold a Sear.
Yeah.
And Cameron is standing over Cal with his hand on her shoulder, a hand on his shoulder. So it's like all 4 of us together. Wow. It was a powerful moment. And he just said, and that's my visual, but he just said, I just thought of us. That I just thought of us, our relationship, what I've learned from you, and our time together and our experiences together and our love of each other. I just thought about it, and now it's gone. Now it's gone. you know, this moment ends the way we have this relationship. We'll have a personal relationship. I saw him for his birthday, how we met in the bar.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, but as far as the building, the complexities and the beauty of the relationships and having that acting experience together and sharing and listening to him have these Americas, he's a huge gamer. So he made comments about what's organic and what's not, even in the gaming aspect. And he was always on the mark. It always made sense to everybody. And so learning from him in his youth and at the same time in his astuteness, because he does play games and because he's also a great actor, watching and marveling this human being, he was amazing to just watch and amazing to act with. Yeah. And so that moment really brought me out of that, in that space, to go again, all over again. He's like, I just thought of us. And that's the organic truth.
God, I love that. I love everything about that.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That reminds me of when you work at a place for a long time and you have your friends and they're like family.
Yeah.
And then you leave that bar or that restaurant and you go to another spot. It's just, you feel it.
Yeah.
It's never gonna be like this
Yeah.
again. Like that's
That's your crew.
Yeah.
That is your crew that
Yeah.
gets you through like the rough nights.
You can see them again.
Yeah.
You can always see those people
Yeah,
again.
But like
it'll
that
never
energy is not the same.
never gonna be like it was when you all worked together. When
Yeah.
you all came in, clocked in together, went on your breaks together, went and got that drink on your break and all those things. It's like
Not gonna
Clocking
be
out
like
for last
Lucky
time.
Strike in 2016,
Yeah,
2015.
man. Yeah.
Not gonna be that crew.
That was
yeah,
the golden era.
That was the crew.
That crew, man. I'm telling you, it's like we talk about it for a reason. That was the crew.
Yeah.
Like, we could handle anything back then. Anything. Slow night, busy night, DJs, celebrity, everything. Whatever would come through the door. Between the bar crew and security, because shout out to my security fellas, because I'm still in touch with several of them to this day, and it's been almost 10 years. Like, that's how good of a crew we had. In
Shout
that
out
building
security
at that time, man. That was our Jedi Survivor. It was, man. When we left that, I mean, I remember when I left that bar and a couple other people left that bar. Like, we all had like going away parties for each person. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
oh man, they're leaving. Like, they're leaving here. And sometimes people will come back who didn't work there. No, oh, they're leaving. Got to come back.
Yeah.
To say bye. Like, that was a good time for sure.
Damn.
But your costume.
Your costume.
My costume.
Your costume.
Well,
You look like a pimp minister.
church is on 11 a.m. on Sundays. The collection will be passed at 11:01. Church ends at 11:05.
Meet me in my office. Let me bless you. Bless you real good.
Let me just bless you one time. Well, we'll leave the holy water at home today. No, I used to sneak to watch MadTv because my mom was she actually wouldn't let me watch TV Monday through Fridays. It would start at Friday 8 p.m. Clearly, MadTv came on Saturday nights, I believe at 11
p.m.
11
Yeah,
p.m.
that was 11.
So, but even though that, I had to sneak to watch it because she's very religious, very spiritual. And so I had to sneak to watch it. And that was just the formative years of me trying to figure out comedy, figure out my version of comedy, what works for me, what's funny. Because I remember growing up, I grew up on like Martin and Living Single and all that. But then when I started to navigate the improv space, it was like, it was more, they were more into Seinfeld and they were more into like that kind of comedy that felt foreign and different for me at first. But I felt like, for me, MadTv kind of bridged that gap for me. And so just being a kid, first it felt like I was doing something I wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah.
By sneaking to watch it.
It was like watching porn for you.
Or it was my skin of man.
Gotta keep the volume low and everything
Yeah.
so you can hear.
No, I had to keep the volume low
Yeah.
and like had the captions on.
Yeah,
I
so you
swear
can
to
hear
God.
it for footsteps.
Absolutely.
You gotta keep the laughter down. Like,
Yeah, don't laugh too loud. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's just the Cosby Show, Mom.
Yeah.
Now we can't watch that either. But anyway, that was such a special time for me. And so if people don't know, you played the iconic Whitney Houston Aries Spears, Bobby Brown, and it just it was magic to see you guys portray them, and you guys showed the different elements of them that people were talking about in ways that it felt a little taboo to mention it, but like you guys went there, but it was tasteful, and it was like,
Oh, it was tasteless.
it was, yeah.
It was. That's what made it fun. It was tasteless.
Yeah.
We pushed the envelope. We pushed
Yeah.
the envelope. We went,
Yeah.
but that's the whole point, because then you
Exactly.
can't say that it's really Whitney and Bobby.
Right.
It's a characterization.
Yes. Right.
You know, it's a caricature of.
Yes.
You know, because we never wanted to offend and hurt anyone's family around that.
Right.
But we wanted to blow it out of proportion so that it's so ridiculous that you will only have these snippets of the things that are Whitney, or the snippets of these
Yeah.
things that are Bobby. And even then I would blow it out of proportion.
and then touch on it. And I read somewhere you said that you actually heard that she enjoyed.
yeah.
Yeah, she and Bobby, like, they enjoy watching
Yeah,
you
she's
guys.
probably high.
Yeah, most likely, yes. And so very true. And yeah, she was like, "Is that me? I don't know. It's funny though." But yeah, so I wanted to pay homage to that, because I just, as a young black kid, that like I wasn't necessarily. I was just trying to figure it out, whether it was comedy. I felt like I kind of had a handle on drama a little bit as I was trying to get into that space. But the comedy was what I was really just trying to get a handle on. And I felt like MadTv and what you guys were doing was just giving me that blueprint, or that code of like where to go and how far to push it, but how to figure it out and do it with intention and wittiness, and and so I just appreciate that, and that's kind of the inspiration.
You missed the powder on the nose.
I know.
We
We
talked about it.
We talked about it, and I was just like, it would be a little bit too on the nose. Or I was
That's
gonna
what
get
it
like
was.
the,
That-
yeah,
right?
what it
That's
was.
exactly what it
Yeah.
was.
yeah, and like the brown paper bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one element that is really important, especially doing sketch comedy and then you're doing it on a show, is everybody that I worked with was having fun, because
Yes.
once the camera stopped rolling, I was watching what people would do, either with the audience or who they were on set with or whatever, and nobody was changing it in terms of fun, and then okay, is the hair all right? Okay. Everyone was still having fun, making comments, making laughter. And some of those people like Will Sasso, always having fun, always. He never cut it off.
Yeah.
Aries Spears, always having fun. I mean, you know, the brilliance of Aries. He had so many ideas. I mean, he's the youngest dude. He was only 16 years old when he did, was it either Showtime at the Apollo or what was it?
Def Comedy.
Def Comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still today, he was the youngest stand-up on Def Comedy Jam. I think he was 16 years old.
That's crazy.
No, it's sane, because he knew what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He knew what he wanted, and his father
Fair.
said, "All right, I'll take you,"
Yeah.
and to support that. And Aries never really changed in terms of this is going to be fun. Here's what I'm thinking. Oh, let's try this, or be silly. He always either stayed in character, even when he was getting makeup or hair or whatever. He always knew that the audience was watching in between, even if the DJ was playing music to enthuse them. He always knew that the camera was on, so when he was doing things with the makeup people or whatever, he could hear the audience laughter. He was always on because he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Aries is brilliant. He thinks, he absorbs all that information, and he takes it and he plays it up. You know? He plays it up not because, look at me, I'm Aries Spears, and aren't I funny? It was, I know how to play. I know how to have a good time. I'm going to make you laugh. I'm going to do something right now. Watch this, y'all.
Yeah.
But that's what he would have done as a kid. That's what he
Right.
did when he was 16. And he knew what he wanted to do, and he was laser focused, and he's funny like that to this day. I haven't seen him in a while, but this brother is and intelligent and bright. You know, intelligent and bright, but also knows how to just enjoy. Working with Aries was pure fun. It was fun. It was silly and fun. And I think that's what if you want to find the comedy timing, make sure before you find the comedy timing that it's fun, because sometimes your timing is your handprint on something. And it's not just a comedy handprint, but your handprint, because you're having such a great time. And there you are organically having that moment. And now I can put that in my pocket for my timing and build my comedy chops.
Yeah.
Gotta work.
That's saying.
Gotta do work.
That's right. That's funny. She hit you with that Uno reverse. She counted you. That's crazy. That is actually crazy. She said, "No, that's sane." I absolutely love that.
So you also said you don't drink.
No.
And so did you used to drink?
Nope.
No. So you've never
Nah.
drank. Yeah.
I don't like the smell of alcohol. I don't like the smell of it on people's breath. I don't like the smell of it. I can smell alcohol in perfumes and colognes. That's why I don't wear them, because I can smell it. And I get nauseous, especially if I'm in an elevator and 3 people have on a cologne or perfume and stuff and it's cloying. I can smell alcohol. I can smell alcohol on people's breath. My ex-husband, who's my best friend, we besties. We have brunch every Sunday. He was visiting his family in Vancouver, Canada. He came back, had drinks on the plane, ate a meal, was hours later. And he walks in the door and I'm like, "You were drinking. I could smell it." He's like, "No, I wasn't. I didn't." I said, "You had to have drinks on the plane or before, because I can smell alcohol, and you can't hide it from me. My nose is that sensitive." And he goes, "Yeah, I actually did, but I had a meal after that, and it's been 2 hours since then. So 2 hours later after a meal, you can still smell it." I can. So I've never really been into it. I remember one time, I don't know why, but there was a bottle of wine, and I was home alone. I was living in New York, and my parents had moved to South Carolina. It was just me and my sister who took over the house, and it was a bottle of wine, and I was like, "This one has been sitting here for years. What does wine taste like?" So I had it, and it was really sweet, and I really couldn't tell the alcohol. And then I just started laughing a lot. And then one of my neighbors, who was known for being a drug addict, I kept thinking, what if he came over right now and tried to rob the place because he knows I'm alone? And I had a baseball bat waiting. I was just like, I'm gonna eat him good. And of course, he was nowhere near the place, but I'm just imagining, what is it like if he was, okay, let me look through the curtains. I was fucking drunk off my ass. I didn't realize it because my mind is still working in that comedy space. It's still working. What if he came up, right? And I'm in a robe and I need to, that Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
I started with Bugs Bunny flipping around and then looking behind me and just making myself laugh. I was drunk off my ass, but it was so fun. I remember the first time I got high with a contact high, because I don't smoke pot either. A contact high, I saw a poodle and all I thought was it was a giant tampon with legs. It was a white poodle and I could not stop laughing at the idea. And then I imagined it all bloody and then it stops and looks at me while I'm laughing at it like it's walking and trotting along, and I'm laughing my ass off and it just stops and looks at me as dogs look at you and they just don't know and I'm laughing my ass off thinking about this dog's looking at me, and then finally it trots away and it's just blood and just a little drip, 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 because it's all bloody from a vagina. Vagina.
There you go.
Vagina.
I just want to know what you were smoking or what they were smoking around you.
It was
I need
fun.
some.
It was the High Times, the magazine, was having their awards. They have they do awards every year. And they asked me to be a presenter at the High Times Awards. And so my dreads were down here too at the time. And so it was like, yeah, I'll go. And I went in and as soon as you walked in, it was like a Snoop
was a
Dogg
high
party.
time.
It was all of that and more. And it was all like love and I like the smell of love the smell of marijuana. Love the smell of marijuana like I like the smell of gasoline. And so I was just walking around and because gasoline has no smell. They add a chemical to it in order to smell it so that you'll know if you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
And so I was, just walking around and everyone was like, hey. I'm like, hey. And just hugging people and telling them I love them. And I'm like, it really is true. You do all of those things and you do say stupid stuff and you do think stupid thoughts. And so,
Boy, do I.
yeah, man, that was good time. High times were good time. So, yeah. Yeah, so all of that to come back to, I don't drink. I never had a need to because I know, and even though I did it that one time and another time, I was meeting a friend for lunch. I was heading into Manhattan and I went to a bar because we were going to meet there because they also had a restaurant. And I was like, you know what? I don't want anything. I just want to, something big. I see, you know what? I'm going to take a Long Island iced tea.
Whoa.
But I thought a Long Island iced tea meant a tall because it came in tall.
Oh, God.
And you really can't taste the alcohol if it's made well.
Yeah, that's the point.
Oh,
That is the point.
Thank you so much.
It's been an
for saying
ongoing
that.
conversation.
Oh my God.
And I hadn't eaten because I was like, I'll wait till she gets here. So I hadn't had anything to eat. And I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
What? I was like, excuse me, was there alcohol in this? It's like, was there alcohol? There's like 4 different alcohols here. Why didn't you tell me? Because why would I need to? You ordered it. You don't know what a Long Island iced tea is. I told him I thought it was a Long Island iced tea. And he was like,
That must have been a day. Oh,
and she
Lord.
walked in and all I did was look at her like this. She goes, what's wrong? I'm like,
I went to Long Island.
He did this.
yeah, literally. He gave me alcohol. He gave me alcohol. He gave me alcohol, fucking alcohol. I don't drink.
And a lot of it.
Drink.
A lot of it. 4
You gave
different
me
kinds.
all of them.
Hate
I take
you.
none of them, and you gave me all of
All of I hate you. I hate you so much.
That makes me so glad,
name
as somebody that is not a drinker, to say, if it's made well, you don't taste it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that validates so much of what we've all been saying.
feel
for so-
validated?
I feel so validated.
Yes.
So validated, because I hear that a lot at my job so many times, day in, day out. It's like, hey, did you put any alcohol in here? No, I just charged you $14,
Yeah.
$15 just for juice. Haha.
Yeah.
Stupid. I got you.
Got you.
Come on, man. Use your brain. So it feels good to hear that, yeah, if it's made
Thank you.
well, you don't taste it.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Thank
I
you
can
for
validate
that. Thank you for that. So
I feel good.
So I had one of the things I wanted to ask, especially being
You said you
in-
feel what?
I feel good.
Nah, 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 nah.
And
Sorry,
I knew
I had to
that
do
I
You should do the
would.
dance, actually.
I had to do
You're
that.
dressed for it.
Yeah.
Get that chest out.
That sounded more like a crow.
Good on you.
I'm trying to be one of no, never mind. I wasn't gonna caught myself on that one. But one of my questions was being in the entertainment industry and not drinking. How does that, how does that look? When you go into all of these like wrap up parties or release parties and all
You
of
see,
these things.
okay, you see how, see, what you did is you set yourself up for that.
Yeah.
And when you set yourself up, you've already told yourself, this is the situation. But you're looking at the situation, but not the person. So now you discard me as a person because you're looking at the situation. Like the situation should be greater than my choices and decisions and how I.
Oh, no,
I
not
live.
that.
But
I
it
just-
is.
yeah.
But it is.
Yeah.
But it is because you didn't mention how do you feel about not drinking in events. You didn't do that. You set up the scenario like you go to the situation and you have all these rap parties in the industry, but you made it all about the superficial stuff. You feel me? But you didn't ask me, do you drink at these events? How do you feel about not drinking at these events? Because my thing is this, no matter where you go, there you are.
Right.
I'm going to say that. It's as simple as that. Because it really is that simple. No matter where you go, there you are. Now, what answer do you need?
That was the answer.
There
I
you
needed.
go.
Thank you.
You feel
Thank
me?
you.
Because it has nothing to do with all of those circumstances.
Right.
We all come here to make choices. That's all it is. We always want to put this limiting view of what that is. And we judge that. We just judge what is good, what is bad, what is right, and what is wrong, socially, morally, spiritually, legally. And then we hold people to a standard. So we don't get to really know them because that's just a layer between the standard. You know, that standard layer is there now. And so we judge people on their actions so that we can get an idea of if they're a good person or a bad person, if what they did is right or wrong or inappropriate or not appropriate. And so no matter where you go, there you are. And if you focus on that person and the conversation and you focus on all those spaces, it doesn't matter what space that person holds where they go. They're still bringing themselves to the table. You know what I'm saying? They're still bringing the most authentic selves. I don't drink. I don't like the smell of it. Bottom line.
There you go.
And no matter what, nobody, and certainly at this age, has ever tried to go like, well, come on, try it. Like, hey, we're all having shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because everyone knows me well enough to go, Debra, she doesn't drink. Everybody knows that already. So it doesn't matter. And I don't do industry stuff. I will go on occasion, but I'm tired and I'm old. So I like to be in bed and I like to be home and I like to be chilling. I like to fall asleep in front of my laptop watching a fucking movie. And so for me, I don't really go out. I will on occasion if it's Halloween and we're doing something fun and I like my scary stuff or watching my movies. That's great. But I'm not a big industry person. Because when I'm done at the end of the day, I want to be with my critters. I have a lot of animals. And I love to caregive because they're all exotic animals. And I love caregiving my exotic. I still have a dog, but I've got tarantulas and snakes and lizards. And so.
And a scorpion.
You got a few scorpions, yeah.
No, I don't have my scorpions anymore. I stopped keeping scorpions. I stopped, and I even had the largest millipede on the planet from Madagascar, and I rehomed him and gave him to a good friend of mine. And so I've got 6 tarantulas, I've got 9 lizards, I've got 4 frogs, and I've got 1 snake, and I've got a dog. And I love the caregiving. I love something that needs the attention without asking anything in return. It's like, getting up every day and I'm, watering in their enclosure and picking up poo and getting fresh water in there and feeding them. One of my lizards is a Colombian tegu who is untamable, but I can handle her. And I feed her in the tub, and it used to be a really bloody ordeal. It used to look like a forensic scene. It was blood everywhere because they're brutal when they eat, and they've got a bite of pressure that is wow. It's amazing when they want to grip and not let go because she's gripped certain rats or mice and gave a shake, and then the legs go off, and I'm like, oh, the leg is over there, and the body's over. That kind of stuff. It's brutal. Yeah. So now I feed her. I feed her frozen. I mean, I thaw them out and I use a sous vide, but that's a whole other thing. But so I don't feed live anymore other than crickets. And a majority of all my other babies will eat crickets and mealworms. Some can eat some cat food and other things. But I love coming home and having the reality of take care of this stuff, take care of these beings, take care of them, as opposed to hanging out and doing industry stuff. I'm really not an industry person. A lot of people are like, do you know such and such?
Yeah.
I'm really not that person. So, but whenever I go out, I will have a good time. I will enjoy it. I'm not carrying. I want to not be here. Yeah. I'm always holding. Let me have a good time. I'm here to have a good time. And when my good time is over, I'm like, I'm out. I don't want to get overstimulated and not enjoy it. I'm like, when I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
I had, and then I'm gone. Hence the mocktails. I'm like, everybody's drinking here. Do you guys make some? And it was wonderful. And I didn't need to, but it was nice not to have cranberry juice and orange juice.
Yeah.
Something a little bit more fun.
Something more fun.
Yeah.
More fun. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I bought a round of mocktails for other people. Like, yo, guys, try this. No alcohol in this. This is really great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all the flavor combinations were just sensational for me.
Yeah.
And so my mother, God rest her soul, never drank alcohol, not even at her wedding reception. It just was my mom's thing. And I take after my mom. I'm a tea drinker. I'm a tea fanatic. Oh my God, I love tea. I love different teas from all over the world. And so I will drink tea, but I don't need that other stuff. And besides, I mean, do I look like I need to be high? Y'all saw what's going on. Y'all know I don't drink. I said vagina 3 times. Do I?
Here we go.
4 times. Do I need to be high? I'm already high. Life is my high. God is my high.
There you go.
This time right here, having a good time with my boys. This is my high. Bam, 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 bam.
There we go.
Oh, I just had like simple questions. Prior to getting into the entertainment industry, did you ever hold like a service industry job or anything like that? Just trying to tie this a little bit closer. Like, what is your relationship with the service industry? Like, as far as restaurants, bars,
I worked
favorite
at
place or something.
I worked at a Roy Rogers Chicken in New York. Roy Rogers had restaurants. Roy Rogers Roasters in New York. I worked at it was a chain, a small chain of steak pubs called Cookies Steak Pub. So I worked in the food industry in both of those places. And for 14 years, I worked for City of New York Parks and Recreation, which I was hoping to make into a career. I never wanted to go into acting. I never wanted to go into the entertainment industry. I went to the High School of Performing Arts and graduated. And I went, you know what? Everyone else can go dancing off or singing off or, drawing off to their careers, but I'm not going to be a starving artist. That's not going to be me. And I had been working since I was 14. And I never asked my parents for money again since I was 14. And so I love the idea of working, and I love the idea of independence, and I love the idea of blazing that trail. And since I was 14, my father, who worked for City of New York Parks and Recreation at the time and was a school-time, both jobs full-time at the same time. He worked 2 full-time jobs for 28 years. God rest his soul. And so he was like, well, you're going to work the summer? You want to work the summer? So I worked as an assistant camp counselor, but I also noticed that instead of just being a babysitter, I wanted to bring creative things to the table because my parents were always bringing creative things to the table from home. And so I wanted to do that same thing. I'm my mother's child. I just am. And so I wanted to bring these creative things to do with kids. And then eventually I became a counselor. And then eventually after being a counselor, I became a camp director. And then I was like, well, what else can I do? And I was like, well, okay. And then I was like, I don't teach preschool. I'm like, oh, but you're going to do now. Okay, I'm going to teach preschool. So I ended up teaching preschool. And then after that, I was like, well, what else can I do? I haven't worked with at-risk youth. I know I'm going to volunteer in, or I want to move over now to the Department of Juvenile Justice. Oh, wait a minute. And I started working at the playground for all children and the camp for special needs kids and those who were developmentally disabled and high functioning and low functioning autism. So I did that at the playground for all children with the REACH program. REACH at the time stood for Recreation, Education, Athletics, and Crafts for the Handicapped. And the playground for all children was a park in which there was Parks and Recreation had a building and you did arts and crafts on the inside, but then the playground was a seesaw, but it also had a step ladder with it. So that for those who are differently able can get on the seesaw by stepping up. And then if you were a paraplegic or quadriplegic, there was a pull chain for the swings and a bar. So, I mean, it's all of those things that were allowed able-bodied children and differently able-bodied children to be able to play together and do the same thing. Everybody can be on the swing. Everybody can go on the slide. It was all built and crafted that way. And I loved doing that. So I said, what else can I do? And I realized I wanted to volunteer in group homes and then get my clearance. And I was still working for the City of New York while doing a Spike Lee film, 2 shows from New York. I did a series with Joan Rivers called Can We Shop? And then I did a pilot for the Uptown Comedy Club, and which turned into a series. And then I did a pilot for the Apollo Comedy Hour. And then I did my first major feature film. And then I was a spokesperson for Burger King and then Amana, which is they do refrigeration, appliances, Amana appliances. So I did all of that and theater and improv all in New York while keeping my city job.
Wow.
While keeping my city job. And so the other jobs that were service industry, I didn't last long. You look at me. I didn't last long. And I was by one supervisor or manager of this restaurant, he really resented my joy. He wanted me to be the average worker, and I wasn't. And he resented my joy. He resented my joy, and I could tell because I wasn't, the hi, welcome to Roy Rogers. May I help you? Have a nice day. That'll be 20. It wasn't that for me. I was always, every time somebody came up to me, I was a different person.
Yeah.
I was always different. Every time someone came in, the next person after that, I was a different person. I would always do accents. And I learned how to do an English accent by the time I was 5. And so I learned to do accents early on because it was just a fun thing.
Yeah.
I never attempted to use it for the entertainment industry. And even when I went to the High School of Performing Arts, after that, I was like, well, I'm going to go to Newhouse School of Communications and I'll do camera work because I'm not going to fucking starve and be an actor. And besides, they wanted to teach me and pay for college the same thing I learned in high school. What I learned in high school, they were trying to, I'm not doing that. It's my father's money at that point.
Right.
And even then, I learned this attitude of, I love working. There's a sense of independence that I was like, I'm going to start working at the Carrier Dome. I'm going to sling beer. I'm going to make popcorn or whatever. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to make money so that I go, guess what? You don't have to pay for my meal plan. Guess what? No one paying for books because I love the independence of moving through experiences and growing myself to better know myself. So all of those businesses taught me how to grow myself and know myself and also to recognize and be cautious of people who want to keep you in a position because they think that's all you are. Either because of the color of your skin or because of your gender or because they have this an expectation of what they want in their space. And now that you're in their space, they expect you to respect their desire for that space because you must need the job. You're young and this is a summer job and you need this money. You want it for something. And he had another thing coming. He had another thing coming to the point in which I could not be intimidated by him. So he just had no choice but to fire me. I know it was great. Because again, what somebody's saying is, I release your energy out into the world because I can't confine you. I remember one time I was up in the break room and I had a break and I was reading a book. And he came up and he moved around the break room and I never broke from reading. And I knew what he was trying to do. He never said a word, but I never looked up either. I never acknowledged his presence. And I could tell that it was getting under his skin. I knew I wasn't long for that. I knew I was not going to be long for that job because I enjoyed it in a way that most people wouldn't find enjoyable. It wasn't just a job, it was an experience. And even as a person, before I knew I was really going to hit the entertainment industry or be in the entertainment, I was always fascinated by experiences, having these moment-to-moment experiences. And of course, that's what you bring to acting. That's what it is. It's moment-by-moment experiences. Acting is doing, it is being, it's in the moment. And I was doing it organically because I'm just fascinated with human condition. I'm fascinated with life. I still sit to this day and enjoy moments where I'm just like, stop and listen. Pay attention. Pay attention to your own voice. Pay attention to conversations because you never know what you're picking up as an influence that you're going to use. You never know. We always want to be somebody else. We always want to be somebody else when we're acting. We love playing these characters and these broad things. But what are you bringing to the table that makes it organic? You're going to miss. You're going to miss how amazing you are to begin with. And so for me, it's always like I can do all these other things, but I always knew that I was bringing myself to the table. And when I worked for City of New York Parks and Recreation, I was most myself. I was most myself because I was being in a service industry. I'm providing a service. I'm, preschool, after school, senior citizens, aerobics, and all of those things. It was like, how else can I serve a community? And I wanted to serve the at-risk youth community. Those were in group homes. And I got my clearance for Department of Juvenile Justice. When MadTv happened, when all of those things were happening, I was still working for the city. I was still working for the city. And what ended up happening was, for the most part, I was in Manhattan. I walked from Queens all the way into Manhattan because it was a beautiful summer night. I wanted to go see Young Guns at the time. Okay, you'll know. You'll get it later. We'll let you know later. Young Guns. It was in the 90s. So I went to go. It was the premiere of Young Guns in the city, and someone was handing out after Young Guns. Were handing out these vouchers to go see a comedy show. I didn't know what improv and sketch was, and so I was like, comedy. Oh, and it's a half-off voucher. I'm gonna go. Went, and by that time I'd obviously graduated from performing arts. And at one point they asked for I'm like, oh, I get this. That's fun. They were asking for a volunteer, but nobody would get up because everyone was in couples and groups and no one wanted to embarrass themselves in front of their friends. But I was by myself, so I went like this. And little did I know that I was raising my hand to that openness, and here was this opportunity to do this thing. And I didn't know that. I just thought, oh, this is going to be fun for a minute. It's going to be fun for a minute and I'll be done. And so because the rules were so simple and I wasn't trying to showcase myself and I just wanted to have fun, it was a game. So rules of improv: yield and don't deny, which is yes and. Okay, great. Oh, I can fly. This is going to be fun. And so me pushing the envelope as I do, it was a lot of fun. I got offered an opportunity to join the troupe. Because they said, we don't have any black women that do improv that are just like on it like that.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of been like that. And I was like, no. And they were like, look, it's only going to be on the weekends. You make money, bring your friends to show you play and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fun because it doesn't interfere with anything.
Right.
Go ahead. Absolutely. Did that for a while and it was really, really fun. Woman in the audience says, listen, the stand-up, the guy who came on, blah, 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 I manage him. I saw your stuff. Here, give me a call sometime. I would love to manage you. I'm like, I'm not in the industry. I'm not in the industry. I work for the city. I'm not in the industry. So take my card anyway, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, go from this improv group and this improv group to this sketch group. So now I'm learning to write. I'm learning to write improv. Learning to write sketch and bringing characters to the table and blah, 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 blah. Nancy Mura, great stand-up, goes, oh, we were working together and we're having so much fun. She goes, my manager put me up for this pilot. You should go in with me. Life lesson. Nancy, you're going for it. I'm going for it. You're in the business. You got, union stuff. Why isn't that competition? She goes, you can't compete with me. You can't compete with me. All we can do is be our own beings. And so I'm not intimidated. I like what you do and we do sketches together. I think you should go out for it. Yeah. So that's when I realized that there are people in this industry that aren't jealous, backbiting, and catty that say, this is my energy and I own it. This is your energy and you own it. Let's go own it together and do this and have it. So we go and do this. I said, I don't know nobody. And then let's go do it anyway. We're not asking for all that right now. We do it. We booked the pilot. Both Nancy and I booked the pilot. Wow. She goes, you're going to need, and this was years later, she goes, you're going to need to have representation now because this is an actual pilot. I still didn't get it. It was over my head. It was like, wow. It was still like Disneyland, but I didn't get it all because I kept thinking, I work for the city and I'll fit it in. Work for the city and I'll just fit it in. And she introduced me to her manager. Her manager was the same woman years earlier who had given me the card. Oh, shit. You see, and everything, like you said, all these connections started to come together. And so we do the pilot. And the pilot doesn't go anywhere. And I'm like, see, that's okay. So the energy is, I still got my city job. I still have my city job. I still have my city job. Everything that I did, Burger King, still had my city job. Joan Rivers lasted for 6 months. Still have my city job. All of these things that were like, wow, you're moving, you're didn't last. I still have my city job. So I never paid attention to the long lastingness because I sold myself from the beginning. I'm not going to be a starving artist. So I worked a city job because I loved it and I could be me and I didn't want to stop being the me that I was growing into. Then eventually MadTv came along as a pilot or whatever and auditions. Joan and her daughter, Debra, go, okay, we're going to send you on this audition. It's for a pilot, blah, 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 blah. It's called MadTv. So I go in thinking, again, I got a city job. And because I'm this open person, when I go in for the audition, the table is set over there and 2 people are behind the table, Fax Barr and Adam Small with the executive producers. And then I'm sitting in a chair in this open space and it feels weird. Because I'm far back, I feel like I'm being punished. Right. And a kid who's being reprimanded while they're over there. So I was like, hang on. and I drag the chair forward on my ass like this, and I sit up at the table directly like we're having dinner across from each other. And they're like, that's close. I was like, yeah, because I'm not sitting back there. It feels stupid. I'm
Right.
stupid. I had nothing to lose. You feel me?
Yeah.
I had nothing to lose. So when I was supposed to get up and do my characters and all the things, because I came from doing the improv and sketch and all that kind of stuff, they said, okay. And I sat there at the table and did it. I sat there at the table and did it, brought all these characters and sat there in the table because my influence at that point, inspiration, was them. As if we were at a bar, as if we were having dinner and all these things. And I did all of those things right there because in my mind, it was like, I have all this, I have all this space to work with. So for me, the larger space wasn't the room. The larger space is you and this table. Because what is around me is a restaurant. What is around me is this. What is around me is this in my third eye. So now I have all of you to play with in this space. It can be a courtroom. It can be this. It can be a lawyer across the table. It can be an interrogator. I can have all that space to play from everything that I've ever seen on TV. So my drive for everything that to what I wanted to do was everything I had seen. I remember going into my friend's basement and saying, hey, Joey, do me a favor. I got this magazine and I want to read this ad. Would you put music to it? Because I can do what they do on TV. I can do that ad. I can say, because I always watch people like, I could do that. I could do that. When I checked it off my list, that was it. I never had the aspiration or the inspiration to do it, to be business, because I didn't want to quantify what I did. I just wanted to be able to go, I can do that. Did it? That's done. I can do that. Did it? That's done. So when it came to the MadTv pilot, I was like, I could do that. Let's go. And then I did there. And while I was working on the Spike Lee movie, while keeping my city job, they called me into LA. They were like, we got to bring you into LA. They brought me into LA, and everybody who was sitting there and at Fox Studios, there was 100 people, and they were paring you down that day. There was Nicole Sullivan. There was Mary Scheer. There was Phil Lamar. There was my baby Artie Lang. There was Orlando Jones. You had all your people. Brian Callen, they found in New York and flew him out, and he booked it immediately. And so Brian Callen filled out the 8. And so it was wonderful. And we did the pilot, and I thought, pilot's only for a month. I'm going to fly out for a month. I can use all my sick time, and all I want to do is take pictures of palm trees. And every movie that I'd ever seen, Beverly Hills Cop, that real is real.
Yeah.
That, the Beverly Hills Police Department, that's real. That's real. So I went and palm trees and everything else, and I saw celebrities. I was like, oh my God, it really is. You can see celebrities. This was just wonderful. And I knew it was going to be for once, and I was get back and get back and back. The day that we finished shooting the pilot, Fox had picked it up. Fax and Adam called me. Who were the first executives that saw me, and called me and said, guess what? We're going a series. It was picked up. And my face dropped. My first thought was, fuck.
City job.
Shit.
Yeah.
Because it was a huge responsibility to accept that it was okay to have a career.
Yeah.
A huge responsibility to accept that I was worthy of it. A huge responsibility to accept that I had a right to that opportunity. I told myself, who the fuck do you think you are? You fell upwards. You're a fraud. You don't deserve this. Everybody else has been fighting for it. They're bleeding for it. They're doing everything they can. They're struggling for it like you've ever seen. And you just come in traipsing along? What right do you have to not take it seriously and keep a city job? Then there are people that are fighting to be in your position. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. I always told myself I'm undeserving. And that came from childhood trauma early on. Childhood trauma. By 11, I was so undeserving of everything. I was so unworthy. And it stuck with me. So while I'm traipsing around in my life with all these joys, they were things that I'm like, I can put the best foot forward while I hold the darkness back. City of New York Parks and Recreation let me put my best foot forward because I can hold the darkness back. Working at Roy Rogers let me put my best foot forward while I hold the darkness back. Working at Cookie Steak Pub go out and have that fun while I held the darkness back. So I held those jobs down because all of that joy that was coming out and that fun and that frenzy and that wildness could hide all that other stuff. And you would get to know that person and not the one who's still struggling. And Mad TV cracked me wide open. So all that stuff about what I said from the very beginning comes because it had to crack me wide open, because I never put the 2 and 2s together, that it was happening the way we talked about when I came in and how flawless it was to get to your apartment. And so all of those things were happening. And then it wasn't until 4th season when I finally went, I deserve this. Wow. 4 seasons.
Wow.
4 seasons. It was not until 4th seasons when I went, I deserve this. 4 years after I got that job. And then watching these things happen and watching these magic moments happen in my life because I accepted that I was deserving and worthy. And then using that darkness to share with others so that anyone on their journey would never feel alone. And I realized that my purpose on this planet was to go through the darkness in order to build the fertilizer. The fertilizer in my relationship with God is the foundation for everything. And it's a foundation that belongs to everyone else so that there is no competition. And I'm here to let you know that there is no competition because there is no other you. And so that was a powerful place to go because I had to learn those things by going through all of those jobs and having those spaces. So even though you talked about what I did in the industry and the food industry or the service industry, it's always, no matter what, there you go. There you are. So it really is less about me having a regular job and more about the person in it. It's always about the individual, which is why I can't help but look at individuals for who they are and love them, even if they don't love themselves, because I know what it's like to feel unloved when people probably loved me and cared for me, and I wouldn't allow it because I wouldn't allow it for myself. So no matter what, it always comes back to leaving a message on this planet and with people, no matter what industry that you're in, service or entertainment or whatever, to know that there is a place for you on this planet. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been born. And it is your birthright to accept that space and be in that space and love that space, because that is the space that is going to grow you and better know you for everything that you wanted and more.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
And I can't help it. I can never have a conversation about entertainment or career or craft without bringing up those personal things, because at the end of the day, I want you to hear yourself in it. I want you to feel your vibration in it. I want you to know that you have that opportunity. Everyone out there listening to this, I want you to know that you are loved and you are perfect and you are whole and you are complete, and everything that you need and you are equipped for makes you enough for whatever you want to do and choose to do. Also, at the same time, surrender and let go. Let life not be the end of the world in terms of what you get and what you don't get. And sometimes the universe wants to show you something greater than what you think you want. Trust it.
Amen.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, I know we have to get ready to wrap this up in a little bit, but do you...
I was going to grab the...
Yeah, if you'd like to.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you have
What?
any other questions or anything else you want to bring up before we go?
I don't think I have anything.
No?
At least I'm not for this.
Okay. Okay. But we are going to have a live Twitch stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deborah has graciously said that she'd come back.
Oh.
You wearing the suit and bringing the flowers.
Hey, babe. These are for you.
Thank you.
No, we wanted to give you both figurative and literal flowers today.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you
Absolutely.
and the light, the beacon that you are,
Yeah.
and continue to be, and sharing that with our platform.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
It means the world to us.
It really does.
do
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Well, being here means the world to me. Like I
you.
said, love people. And, just it really is. Just love people at the end of the day. That's what it really comes down to. No matter what you do in life, just love people. Yeah. And you'll have a reason if you love yourself. If you love yourself, you'll have a reason to love people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and it was a huge
Think about
life
that.
lesson, but it's one that I've carried into everything that I do, which makes me grateful and abundant. I work all the time, and it's not just because of my voice, and it's not just because of my career, and it's not just because of what I did. It's who I am. It's what I am, and the what you are is burgeoning to receive all of your blessings and your flowers too. I look forward to when you get them.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
like,
that.
subscribe. All of
Please,
those
because
things,
I'll be
please.
back.
Yes.
Y'all, yeah.
You heard it here.
When
You
we're
heard
gonna,
it
but we're
here.
gonna be streaming.
Oh, yes.
And you're gonna be
Yes.
playing games, and I'm gonna be commenting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
you're
what I
gonna
had
get a
in mind.
game, and I'm just gonna be commenting
Oh,
on
yeah.
it because I don't play games.
Yeah.
I don't play games.
You don't play games.
I don't play games.
Nah.
But I'm gonna love having a conversation one-on-one with you for a couple of hours as you play, and I ask you questions about it, and I make comments about stuff like a black woman in a movie theater.
What that did?
Why you do that? Why you do that? Okay, so you ain't okay. All right, whatever. We gonna have fun.
Oh, I can't.
And then I'm gonna ask you. I was like, I'm gonna give you a category of cards, and you're gonna pick a card and show your audience and me and your Twitch followers, and then I'm gonna do my commentary in that type of a character, and you're gonna have all these cards. In fact, what you do is, I'm gonna one up you. I'm not gonna write any cards out because it's too easy for me to be able to do it for myself. You're gonna pick a number of types of characters, and I'm gonna be those characters as you are streaming, and we have this conversation. So we're gonna continue our conversation. It's gonna be flawless and effortless. We're gonna continue the conversation. We're not gonna stop the conversation. You're just gonna put a card down, and as that conversation goes, there's somebody else that comes out.
All right.
We're gonna keep doing the same conversation. Nothing's gonna change. And you're gonna put another card down and show all your Twitch streamers, and then that person is gonna come out. We're gonna have fun. That's gonna be fun. Instead
I'm
of just
looking
having a
forward to it.
conversation. Yeah, you
guys heard it
gotta
here.
pick out some types of characters.
You heard
Come
it.
with it.
I'll have it planned out. But you guys
Or
heard it here.
you can have your Twitch streamers, because can you see texts from your Twitch streamers?
I see messages.
You can ask them,
Ask them.
take suggestions from them.
Okay.
you go.
Y'all got to be watching. So
gotta be
you look for that because that's going to happen real soon.
Yeah, we're gonna
and they
announce
can
that
put out some characters, concepts and ideas of characters.
It's coming.
For
Ready.
those that watch us on YouTube and Spotify, put the link below to my Twitch channel so you can see that happen in real time and can interact real time.
There you
'Cause
go.
I know some of you always have like comments and things you want to jump in and say, but
Yes.
that'll be your opportunity.
Yeah.
So take that chance. And I have nothing else. If you guys have nothing else,
No, there's nothing else to be said.
Deborah,
Just me.
thank you
Process
so
this
much.
for the rest
Yeah,
of the day.
it's gonna take a.
Oh, my pleasure. My
Thank
pleasure.
you
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
much.
Absolutely.
And we will see you all next time.
Next time.
And as always, cheers to the staff.
Cheers to the staff.
Bye, everybody. Oh man. No, wait. I want to.